You're listening to the Around the Huddle podcast, powered by PAC-Hub. Around the Huddle, college sports beyond the game.
Hello and welcome in to episode number 8 of the Around the Huddle podcast, powered by PAC-Hub. My name is John Gross. Thrilled to have you with us for another episode. This one's going to be awesome. We have a guy who I've known for a couple of years now, and he's super creative, great athlete as well. This is going to be a fun discussion. But before we get to our guest, a reminder, as always, that our show is powered by PAC-Hub. Take a look, bottom of your screen, PAC-Hub.com. If you are a student athlete and you want to transfer, right, you go into the NCAA transfer portal. When that happens, how do you get noticed? That's where PAC-Hub comes in. You enter the NCAA portal, then you go and sign up for PAC-Hub. When you're in PAC-Hub, you'll have your stats in there, your academic information, your measurables, everything that makes you different, that allows you to stand out as an athlete is in PAC-Hub. Coaches can then go in and search for you. They can search for that right-handed pitcher. They can search for that point guard, whatever it might be. It's in PAC-Hub. Great specifications, very in-depth. It's really cutting edge. I recommend all of you check it out, PAC-Hub.com. That is PAC-Hub.com. PAC-Hub, connecting athletes with opportunities. All right, so Around the Huddle podcast, for those returning viewers, you guys know what we're about. We talk about college sports beyond the game. So we're not going to recap what happened this past weekend or preview the Super Bowl coming up this weekend. What we do is we talk about the business side, the politics, the legal side, the NIL, all of that stuff. And today we have a guy who has leveraged his playing career into being, personally, in my opinion, one of the best football content creators out there. This is somebody who I had the chance to get to know when I was working at UNC Pembroke. He was a multi-time All-American at UNCP as a punter. His name is Isaac Punts, goes by Isaac Punts. You can find him on YouTube. He is a special teams enthusiast. I've learned so much about special teams watching this guy's videos. He played college football for 5 years, peaking at being a back-to-back Division II All-American punter before spending 2 years coaching while doing YouTube part-time, jumping into YouTube full-time as of this year, which is amazing. He just tells his favorite football stories, talking about special teams as much as the internet will let him. And look, I think that a lot of people underestimate the importance of special teams until your team sucks at special teams. Then you realize this is really important. So without further ado, let's welcome in today's guest to talk about his playing career and how he's turned that career into a business, into content creation. Let's welcome in Isaac Punts. Isaac, great to see you, bud. Thanks for coming on today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me so much. It's great to be here. Like I said, we were talking about this. Crazy how our stories are just kind of circling back around to each other, from covering me as an athlete. Now you're allowing me onto your show to cover me once again as a content creator. It's just, boom, here we are again, right?
Absolutely. And I have to say, I'll never forget when I first got the job at UNC Pembroke. I was a senior at Penn State. And I put on Twitter, I'm excited to have this job and head down to Pembroke. The very first person to send me a message on Twitter was you. So I am forever grateful for that. You sent me a message and I clicked on your bio and it's an All-American punter. And I remember I went to my brother. I'm like, this is so cool. This guy's an All-American punter and he's welcoming me. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I remember you coming in and I was just like, yes. I love, because I loved just, ironically, something on my channel even for a little bit that I used to cover was like when I felt like announcers didn't give love to specialists. Like you'd see a 70-yard punt down at the 3-yard line, and the announcers are like, anyway, let's see how Tom Brady can dig himself out of this. And you're like, dude, come on. Like, that's what you're talking about. Like,
yes,
this guy just made a play of the game.
Special, one of my favorite t-shirts I've ever seen. Kickers are people too.
Yeah. Punters are
I forget who made that, but it's true. Punters as well.
Yeah. I remember there was a big movement. Johnny Hecker started that movement way back in the day. So
yes, Johnny Hecker. That's a throwback. That's a throwback. All right, we're going to talk a lot about special teams, about your career as well. Let's start there. Punting is unique. I think when a lot of people sign up for football, they're going to play quarterback or running back or linebacker, whatever it is. How did you get into punting?
Well, you see, those people that sign up for running back and quarterback and linebacker, sometimes you're not just good enough to play those. So you look for other opportunities. No, that's half joke, half serious. I think sometimes those positions, they're just not for everybody. I would say like punters and kickers, and I didn't know this at the time, but as I grew, I kind of realized I fit into sort of the punter kicker mold where you like the game of football, you like the intensity. But you just kind of what you want out of the game is usually just a little different than other people because you like to focus also on like the super tiniest details and being able to perform them under just immense amounts of pressure. So it's the kind of it's like golf with a threat of getting your ACL torn if when you're being a punter, right? Like you move a little bit too slow, bang, you just get clobbered. So it's like high pressure golf, high pressure in that same vein. I'm not sure what other sports you could compare to golf except for like another form of golf like disc golf. But punting kind of has the same thing. And so I see a lot of punters play golf or play one of these other just very technical sports. So it scratches that very unique itch that not a lot of stuff has where you're like, I'm around football, I'm participating in it. I'm going to do something that is insanely important and insanely impactful, but it's not the same thing as like, I'm not going to go in there and play 60 plays. I'm going to get 3 or 4 plays, but they arguably like pound for pound, play for play, each special teams is like one of the most important weighted plays of a game. Because if something goes bad on it, it can vastly change the game. So that's the kind of itch that it scratched for me, at the time it's very satisfying. There's a whole lot of work that goes into each individual punt. And then you get like very limited opportunities and it just feels good. It feels good when it all works out, love to see a plan come together.
Absolutely. And you made quite the impact, a multi-time All-American in college. When I think of special teams, I think of Virginia Tech, Frank Beamer, right? Beamer Ball, talking about the value of special teams. I'm, like I said before, I'm a big proponent of kickers, punters, long snappers. You guys really make a difference out there. Okay, so you scratch that itch by punting, and then you get to college. You had a very interesting college journey. Can you take us through that?
Yeah, so the first half of my college journey actually started before the transfer portal. So I was a backup. This is something that I think a lot of people can resonate with, right? Where you're a backup, you feel very competitive with maybe the guy in front of you, but you're just not quite breaking through because coaches. Well, there's one thing I learned in coaching, so I'm going to quick detour. But it takes a lot for you to surpass the starter. Like you can't just be a little better. You've got to be so much better that they're willing to take that risk because their job's on the line to let you in over what they think is the best guy. So you have to be that much better in practice. That's beside the point. So I was in that spot where I felt like I was doing just as good, maybe felt like I could have done better than the guy in front of me. But my gut was that they were not going to make the change, at least not anytime soon in the next couple of years. So I transferred. Now at the time, you just had to I looked around at schools and just applied to some of them. And then the first one where the coaches called me back, boom, I was there. That's how it worked back in the day. There was no fancy portal. So I go to UNC Pembroke where I played and I had a lot to prove to myself. Got a couple All-Americans. And then in 2020, as a lot of you guys might know, there was this little thing that hit. Some people have forgotten about it. It's called COVID. And they canceled our D2 season. And at that time, you got to think I was like already a super senior. I was in my first year of grad school. I kind of wanted to just play. I knew I was good enough to play another level. So then I transferred to UNC Charlotte, go there. And then that's when my story unravels. There was a whole bunch of stuff with they thought I had eligibility, ended up not having eligibility. And so I can't play. And then, end up doing some time coaching. And then, now I'm a YouTuber.
It's interesting because I think now when we think of transfers, it's like second nature almost. It's like this is just what people do. But there's a personal side to it as well. I know it can be difficult from going to place. And you talked about, hey, going to UNC Charlotte thinking I have eligibility and then I don't have eligibility. So what's it like for you going from school to school? How do you get acclimated and try to just emotionally deal with that change?
Yeah, well, part of it really depends on the kind of person you are. Luckily, I'm very, very extroverted, very friendly and sociable. So making new friends typically wasn't the hardest thing for me. The other thing too, when you're coming in and being a transfer, a very real thing you've got to face is, I would say maybe like 5% of transfers are transferring because, they're trying to move up, so like 95% transfers are transferring because they really weren't getting the opportunity. So there's almost like kind of a stigma, right? It's like when you're transferring in, that means the school, like, yeah, they might have recruited you a little bit out of the portal, but it's kind of like, you're already kind of being perceived in a different light by some of the other players, right? Like, are you really bought in to what we've got going on? Like, I'm not sure, what the statistics are of guys who transfer once compared to how many more times they're going to transfer. But in my head, it feels like a divorce, right? Like the guy who gets divorced once is more likely to get divorced again. So it's just like, are you going to be here for a while? Or are you just here so you can catch a ride to the next school? So there's a lot of stigma that comes in. I think the number one way to like kind of get acclimated through it is just work really hard, be really good, and then like show that you're bought in, because I never once transferred because I was looking for something that I guess, I didn't have or didn't feel like I could have. Like I really just wanted to play. I wanted to play at the best of my ability. And every time I transferred, it was because I thought I was not going to be able to play, so that's kind of my thought process. Just like get there, work really hard, show that you're dedicated, and people will fall in line. People will like you.
Hi, I'm Michael. I'm one of the PAC-Hub's AI specialists. Today, I want to show you why PAC-Hub is the ultimate platform for college baseball players looking to transfer to a new college program. First, let's take a look at our extensive network of coaches. With over 150 coaches actively using our system, you have a huge pool of experts to connect with. Imagine having access to all these experienced coaches searching for talent like yours. You even have the ability to connect with any of these coaches via our internal messaging system. This means more opportunities to showcase your skills and find the perfect new team. Now let's switch gears and see things from a coach's perspective. Coaches can easily search for athletes by position or stat. Let's say I'm looking for a left-handed pitcher with good pitching stats. With just a few clicks, I can find top-performing pitchers who meet my criteria. This efficient search functionality ensures that coaches find the perfect fit for their teams and athletes get matched with opportunities that suit their strengths. PAC-Hub is all about connecting talent with opportunity. Whether you're an athlete looking to transfer to a new college team or a coach searching for the next star player, PAC-Hub has the tools you need to succeed. Don't miss out on the chance to be part of this amazing community. Join PAC-Hub today and take the next step in your baseball journey. Visit www.pac-hub.com to sign up now.
So you have this really impressive college punting career. You also have a YouTube channel with over 100,000 subscribers. Your videos are always popping up on my page, and I thoroughly enjoy it. Everyone has to go watch his videos. Isaac Punts on YouTube. You have, I just looked, over 1,000 videos that you've made. So when did you start putting videos up on YouTube?
So I started pretty much right when I got done at college. So it was 2021. It was right after the UNC Charlotte season. And ironically, I first started posting vlogs, and I feel like every college player YouTuber is going to start off on that route, where you think, surely my life is interesting enough. If I just post about what I'm doing in life, people want to watch. That's not always the case. Let's just be, I learned that the hard way. My life going out and kicking a football on a field by myself, believe it or not exactly must-watch content. Luckily, that wasn't the only thing I wanted to talk about my YouTube channel. It was just the most accessible. And eventually, when the next season rolled around, I started posting about plays that I liked and highlights and talking about the highlights. I'd always been making highlights when I was in college, so I knew that was something that I enjoyed. Started working on it when I went to YouTube and doing the voiceovers and the commentaries. And luckily, that took off with just a mixture of enthusiasm and expertise. But yeah, so I started 2021, right after school ended. So,
did you ever expect to have this level of success? When you look back to the day that you opened up your Isaac Punts page, did you think that you have 119,000 subscribers?
In short, no. In long, hell no. like absolutely not. I remember thinking at certain points when I had just started, like it was going to be a hobby, maybe in like 5 to 6 years. If I had like 10, 15, 20,000, that'd be fine. But it'd just be, I remember thinking like, I just want to grow my little community and then maybe use this as a way to reach more punters, to get out there and talk to them and just kind of, um, just be able to just make make content that I enjoyed. And, yeah, so I didn't really see this thing taking off the way it did. I think everybody maybe hopes it does, but reality came in pretty fast when I started posting and it wasn't just skyrocketing. And I was okay with that. I think as a general rule, if you're getting into social media and you expect it to just take off, you're kind of setting yourself up for failure, because very rarely does it just take off at the beginning, And even after my initial takeoff, I had to learn the YouTube cycles and stuff like that. So when football season ended, buddy, all the views go away after football season. Not a lot of people know that. So then I had to readjust everything that I thought, because I was like, oh, I'm a YouTuber now. Look, all my videos are doing well. Well, guess what? The offseason hits and no videos do well. And you're like, wait, what? Maybe like, was that it? Was that my one boom? Am I done? So then I had to like really acclimate to what it actually meant to be a YouTuber, with the highs and the lows. And things aren't just always good all the time. I think people typically only watch the videos that do well because those are the ones that get pushed. So they think like, oh, wow, this one has 400,000 views or 300,000 or, maybe 1 million views. So like, wow, that must be going good all the time. But you've got that high of like, yeah, this video's doing awesome, and the low of like when you post one and you worked really hard on it and then it gets 10,000 views or 4,000 views, and you're like, this is a really bad feeling. Like, this is awful.
Right. When in reality, I mean, for me, sitting here thinking, hey, 10,000 views is fantastic.
Yeah.
But I guess at
Yeah.
a certain point, when you're getting, I don't know, I'm sure you've gotten millions of views in a couple of your videos or hundreds of thousands at some point. It's probably like, well, 10,000 pales in comparison to that now.
Yeah. And well, when you make I would say the biggest thing, because there was a point where even as a part-time YouTuber, my goal was always just past 10,000 views on a video. But there was, when you switch over to full-time and your income rides on it and you spend 4 days and a lot of man hours and probably even investing some money in thumbnails and editing work into a video, and then it gets 10,000, and 10,000 views could look like you just made $40 on that video, which means you just lost 3 days worth of time and some hard cash on a video. That's when it starts to hit a little bit different, and you get kind of that pit in your gut feeling like, oh my gosh, like this is bad.
Totally get that. Get that. And when I was kind of preparing for this interview, it reminded me of Destroying, right? He was the punter for UCF.
Yeah, kicker.
Kicker for UCF. And just how times have changed, where we're going to dive into this part of it in a couple of minutes, how now student athletes can make money off of their name. They can make money as an athlete, when back then he lost his scholarship. For those who don't know, he was a kicker at UCF, Central Florida, and started this YouTube page where he got a lot of views. And then the NCAA, I think, basically took away his scholarship, or he lost his scholarship because he was making money off of it. Was he at all an inspiration for you? Like, did you kind of look up to any other athletes who were kind of doing similar types of things, of making content, leveraging their experience as an athlete?
When I first started, I never started when I was in college, largely because of the the destroying situation, right? It's like, you just kind of always felt like it was out of reach. And then you had the downside of like, even if it does take off, like now I can't, because the thing with destroying was, he could have the channel. He just wasn't allowed to like monetize it and make money off of it. So that's where he got caught up, is he took the money over the scholarship money. But I think for me, I didn't really have, there wasn't really a lot of, like at the time there was Destroying, but his was more like day in the life type stuff. And I remember I wanted to be a little bit more educational. And so I guess in like a very vague sense of him just being a specialist and talking about his experiences, there was a little bit of inspiration. But as far as what I wanted to do, it was a pretty unclear path, moving forward.
Got it.
Yeah.
Let's dive into one of the things that I really want to talk about in this show. When we have student athletes who watch and family
Mhm.
members of athletes who watch, nowadays it's all about brand. It's all about NIL, making money off of your name, image, and likeness, and off of
Yeah.
your playing experience. You have been able to turn your athletic career into a full-time job, right? So, what
Absolutely.
is your advice for student athletes out there in terms of leveraging their playing career, what they do on the field, on the court, and
Yeah.
turning that into a business, whether it's content creation or sponsorships or whatever it might be?
Yeah. So I would say that the two biggest things, because I actually get this question every now and then, the two biggest things that student athletes are going to be able to provide as a unique experience to a viewer, and what makes it different is the two avenues I always see these guys go down is you've got the experience related content, and then you've got informational related content. So experience related, in my opinion, is giving them that inside look, because I think a lot of people, what they don't know is like they consume a ton of media, they watch the football game, but I think a lot of times people want that backstage look of what's actually going on in the locker room. What does it look like to be at a dining hall? What does it look like to be, on the travel bus with all these guys? They're very interested in that. That's half of them, is the people that want to just be more invested in the sport that they're watching on a personal level. And then there's the people that want to be more invested in what they're watching on an informational level. So the other brand of media that I see get picked up a lot of times is people just breaking down concepts and play calls, or breaking down fundamental form techniques to their audience member, because that's the other way that people want to be drawn in to engage with that, and being able to leverage your sport from both of those angles is how student athletes are going to win. I think the trap I see a lot of student athletes fall into is, once again, the one that I fell into, where everybody starts off thinking, I myself am interesting enough to get views. And it's kind of this, you get this negative feedback loop, because you announce you're making a YouTube channel and then everybody gets hype. And then your first video is a vlog, and a lot of people click on it because it's your first video and you're posting it on all of your social medias. But then they see that it's just vlogs, and people are just kind of off vlogs nowadays. So so it starts going less and less, and then you get discouraged. So then eventually you just have a dead channel. So the biggest one is just like, provide something unique. Information into your life, as much as you might think it's unique, isn't as unique as you think it is, right? So it's like, show them the behind the scenes stuff, right? Show them the gear drops, give them that kind of lifestyle push. What's it actually like to be a student athlete? Or give them the information of what's it like to be an athlete? Like, how does your mind work? That's like the biggest tip I can give you guys. If you start off on one of those paths, you're going to find way more success than doing just regular schmegular day in the life vlogs, where it shows you, where you do the same shot. Like, it kills me. Every student athlete I watch, it's the same shot of, you set your camera up, you lay down on your bed like you're sleeping.
Yeah.
Then you set the alarm off at some ridiculous hour. It's like, 4:25 a.m. and you get the shot of you waking up and turning your alarm off. Like, we've seen it. We've seen that on before. Like, you gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was cool a while ago, but now we got to provide a little bit something different. Get more into the details.
Hi, I'm Michael. I'm one of the PAC-Hub's AI specialists. Today, I want to show you why PAC-Hub is the ultimate platform for college baseball players looking to transfer to a new college program. First, let's take a look at our extensive network of coaches. With over 150 coaches actively using our system, you have a huge pool of experts to connect with. Imagine having access to all these experienced coaches searching for talent like yours. You even have the ability to connect with any of these coaches via our internal messaging system. This means more opportunities to showcase your skills and find the perfect new team. Now let's switch gears and see things from a coach's perspective. Coaches can easily search for athletes by position or stat. Let's say I'm looking for a left-handed pitcher with good pitching stats. With just a few clicks, I can find top-performing pitchers who meet my criteria. This efficient search functionality ensures that coaches find the perfect fit for their teams and athletes get matched with opportunities that suit their strengths. PAC-Hub is all about connecting talent with opportunity. Whether you're an athlete looking to transfer to a new college team or a coach searching for the next star player, PAC-Hub has the tools you need to succeed. Don't miss out on the chance to be part of this amazing community. Join PAC-Hub today and take the next step in your baseball journey. Visit www.pac-hub.com to sign up now.
Platform-wise, I know that when you're making, when I say you, I just mean you in general, making a video for TikTok, it's completely different than making a video for Twitter versus YouTube.
Yeah.
Is there a specific platform? I know you're primarily on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Is there a specific platform that you think works best for student athlete content, or is it a mix of multiple?
Yeah. Well, I mean, so if you're going to get into the true blue blood grind of it, right, is you're probably trying to utilize as many platforms as you can. But I think as like a general rule, it depends on what you're looking to get out of it. I think if you're looking to kind of, I don't want to say play the system, right? If you're looking for kind of a cheat code, the best thing I can tell you is try to utilize the shorts, Instagram shorts, YouTube shorts, TikTok, right? Or Instagram reels, YouTube shorts, and TikTok. Those are kind of cheat codes when I say that you're going to pretty easily be able to get numbers, right? Like your first TikTok video could easily break 1,000 views. And I've seen people post long form horizontal YouTube content that will stay at 0 views for a long time, right? Like it just, there's TikTok and shorts and reels will literally, someone will swipe and it just puts it there. You don't have to do anything to get them to click on it. It just puts your content out in front of people. So as soon as you start making good content, it's very accessible to get into. YouTube will push it, and the metrics are relatively easy to understand for you to optimize. On top of that, subscriber growth is just better on shorts. It's better on reels. You're reaching a younger audience. So there's a lot of benefits for if you're just trying to get a lot of those numbers up. If you just like numbers, that's the place to be. If you're looking to make it like a career and like a true brand, you got to go horizontal form, but just be prepared. It's not, that's the harder one of all of them. That's the big boy media right there.
What goes into putting that together?
So those ones is more about complete packaging of a video. So like you can't just have, one thing that makes the short so easy and accessible is you can have a good idea and then just create a quality short engaging video, and YouTube does the rest, right? It puts it in front of people. They don't have to click on it. And then if they enjoy it, people are already so programmed to just like and keep moving and swipe onto the next thing. And then YouTube can keep feeding them your content. In long form, it is the scrappiest, right? Nobody ever will click on your video on accident, right? You're going to be put on a screen where your video's right here, and right next to it in the same size thumbnail is going to be a picture of Mr. Beast holding a stack of cash. On the other side is going to be a golden Lamborghini, with somebody else's face right there. And you've got to find a way to stick out and get that click from the most competitive space, maybe on the internet right now, because that's where all the money is. Like financially, you're not going to make any money off your shorts. I mean, you'll make money, but it's nothing compared to what you can make on long form. I'm just being very real for those getting into it. So that now you've got to think about title. You've got to work through thumbnail optimization. You're going to have to just brace yourself for just some brutal failures where you work really hard on something and it completely flops, and that's what I would say the difference is.
With the titles, I've noticed a lot of people always have like one capitalized word that really pops, right? So just something, I guess, to grab the viewer's attention.
Yeah. The title meta, I guess you could say, is very finicky. It's sometimes, you can have one word totally pop. Like trying to find good keywords in the title is always huge. I think, people are always looking for like, what's something I can just say that consistently grabs users' attention. Like big ones in my field, I'll give away some behind the scenes stuff, right? Is like fired usually seems to work, right? Like this is going to get somebody fired. Or typically using the title or the word announcer somewhere in there. People like to hear announcer reaction because it seems a little bit more nuanced. Pretty much no highlight channel like ESPN or the NFL is going to put something out there because of an announcer's reaction, if that makes sense. It's almost all highlighting plays. So something like that might be completely skipped over by those, which means it's more realistic for the creator to step in and provide a unique perspective. But yeah, so like, then there's also some channels that like will post a small paragraph as their title, and then it just does great, you know? So it's very, you'd like to think that there's just one trick that works all the time. It's definitely more of an art than a science. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So no science to it at all so far.
Interesting. I want to go back to something that you referenced earlier. You talked about kind of those behind the scenes, like training table type of things,
Mhm.
that form of content.
Yeah.
I've heard a couple of stories pop up where maybe there are some guys in a team that are doing that, and they run into an issue. The teammate maybe gets frustrated. The coaches don't
Yeah.
like giving that much access behind the scenes. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if that's something that you ever came across, since your content is a little bit different than that. But what would your advice be for a student athlete who wants to make content like that, but doesn't want to overstep any boundaries?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the era that we're getting into, right? Is the more people want to see, the more that's already out there, the more that you kind of have to push those boundaries. I'll say this. It comes down to what your goals are as an athlete. Do you want to become a social media person? If so, then you're going to have to be creative and never overstep what the coach says, never go against a coach. But like keep looking for avenues of stuff you can talk about that other people aren't talking about, or stuff you can do that other people aren't doing. That's within those bounds, right? I think as a general rule, if I'm talking to a punter or kicker who's like, oh, I really want to go pro after this, you know, I always say, maybe you reel in the vlogging a little bit, right? Like make it very service level. And yeah, it might not be as marketable right now, but if you want to go to the league, a story that I always talk about, and he was a very talented punter. I still think he's a talented punter, but if you're familiar with Michael Turk, Hang Time YouTube,
Yes,
he's full on
absolutely.
YouTuber now. He did a lot of
Oklahoma
that.
and Arizona State, I want to say.
Yes, that
Okay.
guy. Yeah. So super talented. My gut, everything I know about football says that guy should have been in the league. You know, I think he ended up at the end of the day valued doing YouTube and stuff more than valued pursuing a football career. But I can't help but feel like coaches and GMs saw the early signs of like, yeah, you know, like how's this guy going to react if something bad happens? You know, how's he going to, you know, and I think he's a great guy that wouldn't have done anything to overstep, but I couldn't help but feel that that might have been something that persuaded coaches maybe a little bit in a different direction. I moved some punters up over him just because of how big of a following he had, how much, you know, he was able to talk about on his YouTube, all the behind the scenes stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if a GM or coach looked at that and then looked at maybe a comparable punter and said, we'll just go with the other guy just to avoid anything bad potentially happening. And once again, don't think he was ever going to do anything bad. I'm just giving a potential thought process.
Right. No, it makes sense. It's just one extra potential thing that could go wrong. Not saying that it would have, but the potential's there. All right.
Yeah.
That's so fascinating. As we wrap up here, Isaac, where can people find you?
You guys can find me at YouTube /Isaac Punts, Twitter /Isaac Punts, Instagram / you're not going to believe it, Isaac Punts.
Wow.
Wow, what a twist, right?
There we go. Isaac Punts across the board. All right, Isaac, truly a pleasure, my friend. Great speaking with you. We appreciate all of your insight today and appreciate your time.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me on, man.
Of course. All right, there you have it. Isaac Parks, a.k.a. Isaac Punts. Really appreciate all of his time and insight. Hope that you all took something out of it. I certainly did when it comes to content creation. And for those student athletes out there looking to leverage your playing experience, your career into content creation, into money, the answers are in this video. So thanks again for joining us. A reminder that we are presented by PAC-Hub. Take a look bottom of your screen, pac-hub.com to learn more. Thanks again, and we will talk to you all again soon.